Welcome to the Four Wards Podcast. Hey, what's up? It's Eric Bra, voice of Draven, Jerks, and Vel'Koz. And you're listening to the Four Wards Podcast, here to help you move forward in League.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 94 of the Four Wards Podcast. My name is Badger, as always, and I am joined this week by two pretty swell guys, I'm not gonna lie. First off, we have George.
I'm only pretty swell.
Pretty swell. Yeah, you're a pretty swell dude, not gonna lie.
Okay.
Not gonna lie. And I figured I'd mix it up since I introduced Thallium every week, so I'm just gonna be like, what, George?
Not gonna lie, you kind of caught me off guard there.
I noticed. I noticed there for a second, and then
Yeah, usually just turn out for the first 10 seconds because it doesn't matter until I come up, but...
Oh, yeah, probably. I mean, oh, I see how it is. I mean, fine, all right. So, we also
Touche.
We also have Thallium.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you guys doing?
Well, I played solo queue for the first time in, 2 weeks because my series was about to expire. And I never
How'd it
realized
go?
how bad the Vlad into Anivia matchup was.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
It's terrible. It is absolutely 100% terrible. You know what's not terrible?
Me?
No. So there's this website you can go to get a lot more podcasts if you're interested, and I believe it's called the tforcenetwork.com.
They have a website?
I hear from a reliable source that it's a wonderful place to hear educational audio bits that you can go straight to your ears.
I do go there every week. And not just because I need to post this episode, but
Not because you have to post the episode.
I like to keep track of all the other things that I don't have time to listen to.
And if you're too lazy to go to the websites, there are other websites that will, take their podcast and give them to you. So there's no excuse.
There's this thing that you might have heard of from this company called Apple, called iTunes, and we're on there, and this other thing called Stitcher, and of course you can always check the reddit.com/tforcenetwork, and that includes a link to the Discord, which I'm not even going to try and say it because it's always a random generation of numbers and letters. So go check out the network Discord or network subreddit for the network Discord so you can get involved with things like community game night and all those other wonderful discussions that goes on as well in there.
Pretty much anything that, you listen to something in the network, either, General Gaming, or League of Legends, or LCS Trash Talk, or there's Hearthstone, there's Overwatch, there's the other Blizzard game.
Here's the Storm.
There's
There's a WoW
lots of
channel, I
subreddits.
think, isn't there?
Yes. Well, I forget because they're the channels that I muted because I'm like, I can't get addicted to that again, and I can't get addicted to that again, and I'm 3 years too late on that game, so just pretend it doesn't exist.
If you're talking about Heroes of the Storm, you're not too late, but that's not the podcast.
I was actually talking about Hearthstone.
Oh yeah, Hearthstone.
Although I think that's flipping over now, and it's suddenly not too late again.
I'm
Yeah.
super far behind on Hearthstone. I don't care at this point. So, but
I have other card games. But if you're into those things, come chat with us.
If you're into supporting the network, go to patreon.com/tforcenetwork. I am really butchering plugs this week. This is wonderful. This is okay. So, I'm stuttering and pausing. Okay, whatever. And if you have emails for us, feedback, questions, we do want more questions. We would always take questions. We love your questions.
We've been getting a lot of questions this week. Thanks to everyone who's writing in. I'm putting them all in the documents. We're going through them and gonna get ready to answer them over the next couple episodes. Probably more than that, just because so many of you responded. But we would love a backlog. Our last huge batch of questions was in January, and that sustained us till now.
We would love more questions till the 4th of July and beyond. So
and beyond.
So if you want to email us at forwards@trinityforcepodcast.com, we would like to read through your lovely emails. So, and of course, check out our Twitter. It is the number 4wardspodcast.com or .com. God, too many .coms, man. Come on. At the number 4 Wards Podcast. This is great. All right, so the deadline for the correspondent auditions is April 17th at 12:01 a.m. Make sure you get those in. We are wanting a 90-second trinket tip that you could put into an MP3 format, and then email us at that lovely email forwards@trinityforcepodcast.com. So we've already received a couple. We are going through it, and we will get in contact with you. And if you would love to make trinket tips and correspondent pieces for the show and potentially have a chance to be one of the seats on here, then please get that in by April 17th, and we really appreciate that from you guys. So
I think most of our correspondents that are still with us have been on once or twice.
I think so.
Yep.
A lot of them have been. So it's patch 7.7 time, guys.
Is it?
It is. Came out
Wow.
a couple days ago, but that's beyond the point. So make sure you check out the patch note rundown episode from the proper. Just a few changes. It seems like it's gearing up for the tank update that's coming at the mid-season. So
I mean, there's definitely more changes than last patch. Last patch was like playoffs, absolutely nothing that mattered.
Yeah. There's more tuning, but I mean the only like major there's a lot of tuning, and then they try to change Amumu a little bit to do a passive thing. And I know opinions vary, but they probably went into that more on the proper. I just haven't had a chance to listen to that episode.
yeah, I haven't had a chance to listen to it as well. I'm
It-
interested in seeing their thoughts on it because I think Amumu is in a pretty good spot right now.
Yeah.
And he will be in a better spot. So make sure
He's always good in bronze.
And yeah, if you're good enough, you can ride them
Yeah.
right. So
all the way up.
there's also the special playoff episode of the rundown, which I know I have a couple bets coming into this weekend's games of the quarterfinals. May or may not have said one of the teams that's playing this weekend is going to be winning the entire split for LCS. So give or take, you know,
Who is your choice?
Phoenix won.
Ooh.
That is audacious.
I think if Meteos and Stuck play all the games for Phoenix 1, they will Dispatch of Dignitas 3-0 this weekend, they will beat Cloud9 next weekend, and they will beat TSM in the finals handily in a 5-game series. But that's just me being optimistic and thinking that Era is literally, like, second to Deft in my heart. So,
Era
Well,
did
he
carry my
is second
fantasy
to Deft
team.
in your heart.
what's that?
I mean, he is second to Deft in your heart.
He's second to Deft in my heart. Nobody will beat Deft in my book. So,
Well, at any rate, you can
Did
listen
you-
to them.
Did
You
you
know-
bet on Phoenix 1 against the field?
I just said Phoenix 1 was going to win the games this weekend, and I went one step further and said Phoenix 1 is going to win North America. So, yeah, I basically went against the field. But if they get knocked out this weekend, I'm actually probably going to cry. Because,
Yeah.
reasons.
Well, at any rate, Rundown's going to talk about it for about 3 hours. So
Yeah.
if you got a 200-mile commute, you can, tune on in.
Rundown if you would love to have someone else talk about this weekend's games, like maybe a Phoenix 1 fanboy. There's this
that
guy
almost
that I
does.
know.
They don't play the game anymore. I joke. Santana's still really good.
Santana's good. They're all good. I like those guys. I really like them. So,
Meanwhile,
General
I
news.
probably could tell you who's even in the playoffs.
news.
News.
More news. So, the mid-season tank item updates are starting to go through on the PBE, and they are spicy, let me tell you.
Yeah, George. Did
Mhm.
you see the new Banshee's Veil?
Yes! It's dead. It is dead.
No.
No, it's the opposite of dead.
Imagine
I'm not talking
combining.
about Banshees Veil.
Oh,
I'm
you're
talking
talking
about
Abyssal
Abyssal. Abyssal is dead. I
Abyssal
win.
is kill.
They're
I win.
combining the two.
No. See, what I hated about Abyssal was that Abyssal actively removed your opponent's magic resist. Or, like, actively increased your damage to them past their resistances. That is completely dead now.
I mean, it's tentative changes, so
Yeah.
proposed dead. But
They also
the
changed
new,
GA. Did you see that?
I didn't see much of it. I just saw the Banshees Veil thing. I'm like, well, that seems broken as hell. And again, we're not going to get into it a lot because it's experimental and it's PBA. But there's something about, let's give Banshees Veil instead of health. Let's give it CDR and ability power.
Yeah.
Let's make
And
GA
keep
of a
passive.
dagger.
No, the one thing that I thought was interesting was the item that basically says, "Sorry, Syndra, your ult's not gonna do damage to whoever's got that item anymore." The one that it's like, every time you get hit by a sustained damage spell, like the first sphere will do full damage. Everything else on top of that will do 15% less damage.
Yeah.
So
Like, long story short, shit's happening. It's probably all going to change. It's
shit's
all
lit,
weird.
yo. Shit
Go
is
and enjoy it
lit.
while you can. Like, as an example, PBE had a bug earlier today where you could banner other champions.
I would love to see that in like
That
a
was a great video.
And you would get all the gold from their kills, even if they were on the enemy team. So if the enemy killed you, you got the gold.
Yeah, actually, I watched that video and it was great. Like a little Heimerdinger, first bought banner command, bannered himself in base, wandered into lane, and his opponent's he's like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't work now because Riot had to go and spoil everybody's fun, but that's the kind of stuff that's happening. Go and have fun.
Honestly, I want like an experimental mode that you can just do like whatever. Just like put it in as like a custom game and just be like, all right, you guys want to play a 5-on-5 where you can like Ohm Wrecker your enemy 80 carry and put Banner of Command on yours?
No,
Whatever.
I mean, do you know what you want? You want like the old like Warcraft 3 like custom game modes.
Dude, I have Warcraft 3 still on my computer. Of course I would love something like that. That would be
That's what
crazy.
you want.
That's what I want. I want something like that.
If you're gonna ask for something, ask for the whole thing. Don't settle. Anyway.
Another piece of news that we're not so sure about as well, but we know that there's a party bonus IP weekend coming up. So I haven't heard anything about this actually.
It's been here and there, like on some of the news sites. Pretty sure it's NA. I'm not completely confident, but if it is, you might want to join it because we have not one but 2 new champions coming out. Which is a nice segue into other news.
Are they going to be two separate? They're going to be two separate purchases, right? This is their first
Like-
I
duel.
would assume.
They're definitely 2 separate champions, so I would assume that they're going to
Okay, I
be.
didn't know if it was going to be like since they're like one
They-
and one, like a
I
cross.
mean, maybe they
section
might sell a
whatever.
bundle.
I mean, they'll probably sell a bundle,
Get them
but
both for $17.50.
I just
Save
want
yourself.
to. I just want to know: do I have to spend 3 blue shards, or do I have to
Or
spend
6.
6 blue shards?
6.
That's all that matters to me. Damn it!
yeah.
How do you have that many shards? Damn it.
I have like 12 in Hextech, so I have like the next 4 champions for free.
I take it back. I have I think 6 skin shards. So
There you
Not
go.
quite
I
the
own all
same
the
thing, but-
okay. I own all the champions in the game, so
Yeah,
anytime
same
that
here.
I get a chest and it opens and it's a blue one, like if it's a champion shard,
Just kind
I
of
have-
leave it there.
what am I gonna do with it? Just
spend it on level 7 masteries.
dude.
Yeah, but then you have to get the right one. And
Yeah, and that means I have to play the same character over and over again. That's not fun.
Wait, what? No, that's fun. Why do I agree with you? No.
Coming from
No.
the guy who plays Purple Spacemen and Dragons.
Birds.
No.
Bird.
Like,
Dragon birds.
what do you all think about the new champs? Like, just, I mean, they've come out with the kits. Like they're on PBE.
I think they're going to be great together. I think the support's better off without the AD carry though. If they I don't even
Like
know
if
what
you
their
play the AD carry, you need that support, but
if
you can
you
play that
the
support
AD
without
carry,
the.
you need something like that support.
Like
I think
I
they go really
am
well together. But if they're split like one on one team, one on the other, I think the support's better off without the AD carry.
I'm not really convinced that having them together adds that much power. Like the only change is first of all the recall, which matters both ways, and is honestly kind of a side thing. Like it can be useful, but it's really niche useful.
Well, there's like little intricacies. Like if
well-
she uses like the bonus attack damage
Right, the W.
ability when he's in the lane, they both get it.
Mm-hmm. And like that is impactful. However, I don't think it's going to be a game-breaking thing where you have to pick both of them, or else like
I don't think it's gonna be the
it
case.
seems like it's more of a they're fine without each other, and they just get slightly better.
They're probably going to be slightly better together, but the community is going to interpret this as they're total trash without each other.
No, I
which
don't
is
think they're total
probably
I
trash.
can see that happening.
The community.
Not that I
man,
think they're
you gotta
total
put them
trash, but
together. If not, then you're bad.
it's like, don't pick her. I don't own the other guy. I'm like, well,
No, I mean
that's
it's
fine.
not like Kindred where they're literally taking away stats if you're not beside each other. It's not that level of
Callista.
dependency.
Callista.
Sorry, Callista.
Yeah,
What am I?
you lose 10% of your attack
Yeah.
speed if you're not
That's
with
what
your oath sworn ally, which is bullshit because I love playing split push Callista. And then like your support comes out of the woodwork, you're just like, I need you, and they're like, I'm coming, and you can like pull them from like 3 screens away, just like
Just for that sweet attack speed.
there's like a
bonus.
bird call, and just gotta play like a Azir support with it so you can like pigeon call him, just like that's your engaged sign.
No, Quinn. Yeah, Quinn makes sense because then Quinn ults and then it is immediately there. Almost. It makes a certain amount of sense.
I know it does, and I'm trying to think of a way that I can just be like, damn it, Thallium, but you're right.
Yeah.
It also is a terrible idea because Quinn support. Like, what do? You blind someone
You
and
have a
then do all the
blind, you have a
damages.
stun, you have bonus damage on top of them. You get free vision.
Yeah.
We figured it out, boys.
Callista Quinn. Got it.
Close to Quinn lane. It's gonna
All right.
work.
Next in-house, you and I can play that. I'll play support.
And
Quinn.
and think about it. If you're in bird form when Callista ults you, it's a free engage to get your ult damage off on everybody instead of just like the outside.
That still sounds like a terrible idea.
This is awful.
No. Okay, the problem with that is if you do that to engage with your bird form, if you hit somebody, you still bounce back to your auto attack range. So you're still 550 range away from them when you hit the ground.
Right, but you're thrown to the middle of them, and you can target the furthest one away, so you jump back to the middle of them.
Well,
I regret
if you feel
everything.
adventurous this week, play Callista Quinn bottom lane. And please email your match history and how the game went to forwards@tradingforcepodcast.com. We will discuss it next week because I don't think it's going to work, but I think it would be hilarious to try it.
Yeah.
So.
I almost want to do that instead of tree line.
No, I want to play Treeline tonight.
Yeah. Not almost. Not entirely, but almost.
I gotta like rampage through people as Olaf again. Like
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
that was a good time. That was a really good time. So, all right, this week on the champ list.
George's champ category power minute hour thing.
5-minute block.
We have not one, not two, but 3 different subsections this time, because mages are just that good.
Eh.
We're the best, so we have the most categories, unlike ADCs, for example, which only have 1.
I will point out, though, that these lists, we have burst, we have battle, and we have artillery. This list does not include control mages. So we
Good
won't
point.
be discussing my special lady friend.
Category. Meanwhile, I only get
Orianna.
one category for my AD carries. I can't get like seizures and mobiles, and
How many different kinds of right clicking are there?
there's like 3 different kinds of kit
Well,
associated with right clicking.
if you bind left click to attack move, you get 2 different mouse buttons instead of 1.
I could honestly think of like 3 different subsections of AD carry just like off the top of my head right now.
Yeah, but you don't work for Riot, so here we are.
I know, Riot, if I put an application in, may I please get hired to the team because AD carries being on one list is bullshit.
That should be the summation of your cover letter.
No, that's
I
the
think
first
you
sentence of the
should
cover
hire
letter,
me
man. Come on.
because one category of AD carry is just total horse hockey, and I'm gonna fix it. Please give me money.
Make AD carry great again.
Ugh.
Yeah, well,
No.
Moving on.
anyway.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
mages,
I can
burst
actually do
mages.
that. I can-
George, what do mages do?
Mages cast magic and shit.
Whoa.
How do they gain power as opposed to like AD carries or tanks?
Unlike tanks, they don't take damage very well. They also don't provide widespread crowd control. If they have crowd control, it's usually a single target. As opposed to AD carries, they don't really use auto attacks. They don't buy fancy swords. They usually buy, magic-y staves and wands.
They buy a lot of books.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you combine 2 books and turn them into a gun.
I'm still wondering how that works out. Yes, I have these 2 books. Let me just like slam them together really hard, and I'll create a revolver.
Well,
So why do mages go mid lane instead of bot lane?
see, mages go mid lane because mages, honestly, reality, don't really need items as much as some other roles. They care more about levels and experience, and mid lane provides that more readily. The other thing is that mid lane provides opportunities to go places. Mid lane's the most flexible role, and generally speaking, mid lane's most flexible, champion. Shit. Okay, there we go.
What was that?
Sorry, my mic cut out.
Mid
Like-
lane's most flexible.
Yeah, so mid lane allows you to both roam top and bottom and into the enemy jungle. If you're say Kog'Maw, you really don't want to be roaming in anywhere because you're gonna get killed. Whereas if you're like an Ahri, then she's not on those lists. Actually, yeah, she is. I'm dumb.
Yep.
Then you can roam to any lane and possibly clean up a few kills. Speaking of Ahri, the first category is burst mages. These ones kill you and kill you hard. That is their job. If they don't kill you, then they don't do their job, and you probably win.
Yeah. So
Some of them are burstier than others. The list as given by Riot is Syndra, Vhagar, Annie, Twisted Fate, Ahri, Lissandra, Lux, Victor, and Brand. As far as burst goes, I feel like Ahri used to be the burstiest of burst mobile assassin mages. They've really toned her down from that, really, so she kind of bridges this one and the next category, battle mages, I think.
I think
These
she's
days.
more of a battle mage than
Yeah.
burst mage.
It's really hard to 100 to 0 anyone anymore as Ahri. Like 75 to 0, sure. 50 to 0, oh yeah.
It's not. It's honestly not that hard to 100 to 0 somebody is Ahri.
Yeah, Ahri is
She busted right now.
Right now.
And it makes me sad because I can't play her. I try so hard, and I
Ahri
get
was,
worse
like,
every
the
game I
first
try.
mid laner I played in season 3. Like
I've actually played a lot of Ahri.
Every time I try.
She's my favorite. Actually, this whole list is my jam.
I don't agree. I don't like Twisted Fate on this list.
Twisted Fate's one of the weirder ones,
Yeah.
but when you actually look at how much damage he does in the mid-late game, it really does fit on a burst mage level. He has a different play style, I grant you, but
Yeah.
as far as
He
his
also-
job is definitely to kill one
He's
target.
like a diving burst mage sustained damage, or diving burst sustained damage mage. It's really weird. Like if you Like, if you really consider what TF is, so.
And like, when you look at all the burst mages, the main thing that differs between them is how fast the burst comes out and how much, like, there is. Some of them have slightly more burst than others. Like Lysandra has lower burst but harder crowd control, and her burst is slower than someone like Annie who all dumps in 1 second.
All right. If you had to recommend someone like, oh, I'm learning mid lane now and I need a burst mage, who would you say you should learn this person?
Ahri. Maybe Veigar. I would say Ahri or Veigar.
I'm gonna say if it wasn't right now, I wouldn't say Ahri. Like, generally speaking, in metas that aren't right now, Ahri is probably a much finickier of a champion to play.
She has two different champions when she has her ulti and when she doesn't. So I can understand why you're saying that.
I mean, whereas if you look at most of the others, they have pretty straightforward play patterns that they try to do most of the time.
Oh wait, Lux is on this list. Why am I saying
Lux?
Play Lux.
And I'm going to say Lux is probably my favorite champion here. But if I had to recommend someone, I'm going to recommend the one that everybody's recommended for the past 7 seasons, and that would be Annie.
I could see that.
Because, like, up until High Gold Plat Elo, she is forgiving enough that she allows you to learn the game. You don't have to concentrate as much with what you're doing on her. You can pay attention to other stuff and figure out what your role in the game is.
Yeah.
I could say Ahri just because she's safe. Just because, like, you can get out with the ult if things go wrong.
Yeah,
I could also say Syndra, in that she's got the only non-skill shot ultimate that, well, her and Veigar, but I think Syndra's more surprising.
Actually weird, because remember when Syndra first came out, like Season 3, Season 4, and everyone's like, this character is so difficult to play. And, like, really she wasn't too bad, but, like, now that, like, we're making recommendations, like, 3 years down the line, it's like, oh yeah, she's not actually that bad.
You hit Q a couple of times, and then you hit R.
Yeah, and honestly, when you look at old Syndra, half the difficulty was in managing her mana. Ever since the changes came out with, like, Lost Chapter and stuff, it's so much easier.
I didn't think it was that bad. It was just...
I've been enjoying her in Treeline lately.
No, I mean, I think that pretty much covers the burst mages.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
This next section, though, is the best section in the game. The absolute best section in the game.
Control mages? What are you talking about?
These aren't control mages.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Control mages are clearly the best section in the game.
No.
Coming from the two of you are control mage players, though.
No. I am very much a battle mage player. See, battle mages are neat because, unlike burst mages or artillery mages, whose job is to, stay in the back and be pansies and, not face any real danger themselves, battle mages tend to play a bit riskier and tend to find themselves a lot closer to the enemy than other mages. To compensate, they are a bit tankier. They tend to build stuff like Liandry's and Riot Eyes because they rely on keeping...
comes out on this list too, as well.
Yeah. GLP is another one.
GLP is a good one too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of these champions are kind of like juggernauts in that their goal is to keep you within their area of control, and if you get out of their area of control, you can't really do anything to them. They can't really do anything to you.
Before we read the lists, we should specify, when we talk about mages, we're really talking about, as we said at the beginning, people who cast spells, people who use their abilities, which doesn't necessarily mean magic damage. We just mean people who aren't going to spend all day auto-attacking, if they auto-attack at all. So when we go down this list of Karthus, Vladimir, Ryze, Swain, Rumble, Cassiopeia, Aurelion Sol, Gangplank, and Malzahar, we can ask ourselves, wait, I thought we were talking about mages. What the fuck is that pirate doing in here? Well, he throws his barrels, and then he shoots them with his Q. That's he's a caster.
to be fair,
I
like
think he's more of an
Riot.
artillery.
No, I mean Riot has him listed as a hybrid, like Battle Mage Skirmisher, because he does excel in long, drawn-out trades.
Oh yeah.
His
he does.
damage is pretty.
It's bonkers.
And
Or-
when you
with, like
compare,
2 barrels.
Late game, like
yeah,
Sheen, Triforce, IE Gangplank. I have a screenshot of me taking 2,000 damage over 0.00 seconds. and dying
Oh yeah,
from a
no,
kick.
that's like you build like Triforce. People were building like Yomu's Ghostblade on him for a while. It's like Triforce, Ghostblade, Infinity Edge, like Shiv.
Why don't we play him on Treeline?
Because I'm garbage at Gangplank.
Why don't I play him on Treeline?
Why don't you play? Why don't you
'Cause
play him
I'm-
on Treeline, and then I could play.
Because
like,
I'm
Rumble or
garbage at
something.
Gangplank. But maybe I'll try him before next week. And I'll get in that practice mode that we keep talking about.
Oh yeah, we keep talking about practice mode. That's still a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
the other thing I do note is that all of these champions do their thing in really different ways. They're all really
yes.
weird because their thing is zone control, and there's way too many different ways to do zone control in this game to really do it the same way.
They're all scrappy.
They're pretty scrappy. They
Okay,
like
the three
fights.
that, like the 3 that I can think of that are super different are like Aurelion Sol because he just wants to roam around the map and just fuck people up. There's Rise who wants to take his entire team right onto you and mess you all up. And then there's just Karthus who sits there and just presses R and then messes you up.
Please kill me. I'm really into that sort of thing. And then there's Malzahar who's like, look at my
I
Spider
send friends
Voidings!
to fuck everybody up, and then Ryan. Oh,
No, I'm a dragon. I have stars.
I have
they
stars
fuck you up, and I don't
orbiting
do anything
around
to you
me.
directly. Woo!
It's like, hey, dude, we can see those. We know you're in the bush. Oh, fiddlesticks.
How about
Oh,
Fiddlesticks isn't on this list though. Is he on the Control Mages list?
Can't remember. Probably.
I mean, he must be. I don't know where else.
Well,
He's on the 80 carry.
So-
Fiddlesticks.
so
Fiddlesticks, dude.
because this this like list is so diverse and weird, which one would you choose?
Twain.
God.
And if you have to, I'll give you two, but two max.
No, I'm gonna go with Swain. If we're looking for low mechanical intensity champions that still turn into huge unkillable assholes, Swain is right up there. Because he hits you with E, he throws Q, he slows you, hits you with W, then he hits R, and like, look at me, I'm a giant bird who's sucking your life. And he doesn't always kill people, but he'll shove them out of lane really fast and just take towers and be unkillable. Jerk.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't this new iteration of Rise, I would actually say Rise. But oh god.
Which Rise? Last
Yes.
Rise or the Rise before that?
Or the one before that.
Probably the
It's
one
like
before
picking your
that.
favorite James Bond. It's like, all right, are we going for the last James Bond or the one before that or?
Or the one you don't remember. Or...
Daniel Craig was the second best James Bond, behind the man himself. You know who the man himself is, right?
I'm assuming you're thinking Sean Connery.
I'm thinking Sean Connery. You're right. Sean Connery is the definition of Bond. Okay.
I have a soft spot in my heart for Pierce Brosnan.
Okay. Pierce
Many of
Brosnan
those
is a
movies were
runner-up.
bad,
That's not-
but GoldenEye was basically my childhood.
GoldenEye
so-
was good.
Yeah.
Like, I watched that movie several times, and I played that particular game enough to be ridiculous. That
Okay,
was
I think
the-
I finally stalled enough time for my recommendation. So.
Okay. I'm fantasizing now about killing people in like one shot, one kill pistols from like using the
Have you
radar
played GoldenEye
before they even
Source?
render.
They came
No.
out with like a source mod that you could download on Steam that actually plays the OG GoldenEye at like 1920 by 1080 on your PC.
I don't think you should have told them that.
I need to write that down.
That's
Okay,
So,
what's your recommendation, Badger?
I will say Karthus. I will say Karthus. Because I don't think he's actually that difficult to play. It's all about being able to land your Qs on minions in lane, farm, and be able to dive into their team and try and keep them there as long as you can while you die, and then you brutally throw spells at their face, and then you are ult on top of them. So.
Cool. George.
This is like asking me to choose between my favorite children. Like, 3 of the champions on here are in my 4 most played champions.
Does that include Aurelion Sol, who you're trying to learn?
Actually, honestly,
Or have
I'm going to
have you-
say, like, I've learned him well enough at this point to say I'm decent/good with him for where I am. Like, it's been doing pretty well. I'm not going to say Mouse right now because Mouse is still in a weird spot, even though he is my, like...
I swear to God, if you say
Wait for
Aurelion
the-
Sol...
I am going to say Aurelion Sol.
God damn...
All right. While Badger's rage quitting, what
I have
Badger
a
wants to say is, why are you picking the champion with the most positionally dependent damage in the game to recommend to our players who are still learning so very much?
So this is what I'll say. If this were any other category where the champions actually resembled each other, I'd probably choose something else. However, I can get away with this right now because it's so different between them. And what I'll say further is that, for me, League is a game I play to have fun more than anything else.
Aurelion Sol is a fun character to play, I'll give you that.
Aurelion Sol is the most fun character I have ever played. Exponentially so.
He's up there on my list, I'm not gonna lie. Because my
And-
one game of Aurelion Sol experience has so much to say in the situation if I know how fun he is to play.
I feel like I played him 4 times. I carried the first 2 games super hard and then fed the other 2 and then just haven't picked him up since he got released. But he is kind of fun. He's a giant space dragon.
And like, I think he has one of the strongest, like, just characters, not even kit, but like characters in the game. He's a giant space dragon that's an asshole. And he has a right to be because he throws stars at people.
That's hard to argue with
Aurelion
that.
Sol is free.
Yeah, and like, even past that, he has a really... Okay. I will say this. A lot of people don't like his gameplay. A lot of people think it's boring.
You can
How-
literally create a giant, like, black hole the size of, like triple the size of Baron Pit, and, like, throw it at the enemy team of, like, oh gosh, we're stuck in our base, what are we gonna do? We're about to get black hole.
And like, if you play Aurelion Sol in a tank meta, can be kind of boring because you're just waiting for his W to hit them 30 times. And that kind of takes a while. And they can't really do anything to you because you have Rod Eyes in. You just fly around waiting for, a minute. But in any sort of mobility meta, positioning around his W really provides some of the most intricate gameplay over a long period of time there is. Assassins have intricate gameplay, but it tends to be in flashes. Brief spurts of like 5-second interactions between each other, and then it's over.
Right.
Aurelion Sol is a champion you have to sit down to master. And if you master him, it's one of the best feelings, like, in the game.
Fair enough.
All right, well argued.
Well argued. All I know from my Aurelion Sol experience is that I played him once during Extra Life because someone donated for me to play Aurelion Sol, and I only died like twice. So, can confirm fun character in game.
Hmm.
All right, our last category of mages, artillery. Which reminder that the casters we have Xerath, Ziggs, Vel'Koz, Jace, and Varus.
These are the champions that nobody actually likes.
The fuck are you talking about?
No,
I like
no.
3 of these people.
Yeah, I'm not.
That's 60%.
They can't be fun.
I actually
They
enjoy
cannot be
playing
fun.
all of these, but I don't play Jace like an artillery mage. I don't play Varus like an artillery mage, and I probably don't play Ziggs like an artillery mage. So
Vel'Koz is kind of a burst mage.
Yeah.
because he's really bursty,
Yeah.
but he's also
Yeah.
really long range, so I can understand why they threw him in the artillery list.
Yeah,
Like-
Ziggs is fun because he's a crazy bombardier squirrel that is clearly off his rocker, and then Vel'Koz is basically one of those dudes from the Matrix, giving him the wiggles. And whenever you kill someone as Vel'Koz, you just shout, "Give him the wiggles!" And everyone laughs.
I may or may not be incredibly biased against this category because they happen to be incredibly good against battle mages. Because they just, stay 30 miles away and just
Oh, what
never
are you
run out of
talking
mana
about?
and
You mean
kill
you
me.
don't like the fact that Xerath ulti can hit you from like halfway across the map?
Sounds like a you
his
problem,
ult I'm
George.
fine with because that is a cooldown. His Q.
That's only like one screen. Come on, get good, dodge it.
Oh, God.
Buy early boots. That's all you have to do. Just buy early boots.
I mean, here's the issue I have with artillery mages, is that artillery mages tend to be a binary check as to whether or not you are specifically better mechanically than that champion. Unlike a lot of other classes, you can work your way around not being better than the other person mechanically. Artillery mages, if they are better than you, then they will hit you. And there's not much you can do against it.
Get good.
I get it, but like, I hate that you have to get good in that one specific way to be able to fight against them.
I just like this list because there's finally an 80 carry.
All right.
No,
Well-
Varus is a mid laner.
Bro. Varus is coming back to the bottom lane. He's
Hey,
coming
he's
back
been-
to the. He's coming
he's been
back,
back
to the
all
bot lane
season.
kingdom. Okay.
He's been back all season, let's be honest.
Yeah, he's been pretty good in the bot lane.
On the other hand, Ziggs has also been an AD carry, so you got 2.
And Jace was playing AD carry by a certain team in the LCS this season.
My boy Deft. My boy.
Well,
No, he
So-
played at Season 5 Worlds for EDG with Teleport, and he actually trolled himself when he came to North America for Season 6 Worlds because he put his name was something like Teleport on D or something like that.
well, okay. So are you going to recommend
Teleport.
Varus then, Badger?
I'm not actually going to recommend Varus because he's
Okay.
garbage if you don't build lethality. So, if you're playing
I'm gonna recommend
a
Ziggs.
artillery mage style, you're going to say Ziggs.
Yeah. Throw the bombs. All the bombs.
What are you going to say, George?
This is a small list, and I don't want to say Ziggs, even though that's probably the right answer. I'm actually going to say Vel'Koz because he's purple and a void monster.
In a void monster.
Give him the wiggles.
Following George's trend of picks, I actually think Xerath is a really good artillery mage starting out because you're long ranged, you have a slow and a stun built into your kit, and you can be like, all right, 200 health, but they're really low, and if I can see them on the map, I can just casually just like line it up. Don't make it too obviously because people will call you a scripter. Okay, first off, don't script. I'm not condoning that at all. I feel like it's a bad thing to do. But I think Xerath actually is a really fun, like, artillery mage to play.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Like, his mana is pretty forgiving with his passive.
Yeah, and I think I'd also hate all these guys a lot less if Lost Chapter wasn't a thing. But yeah, that's the way the world works right now. So
All right.
that's mages. Woo!
That's the mages.
Mages Part 1. Mages
1.
Part 2 is
Part
coming
2
up.
is supports and control mages, which apparently is next week. So that's your preview. Ta-da! You have control mages and supports next week.
Unless we throw Badger a bone and do ADCs.
Nah, dude, we're doing control mages and supports next week because I already said it. So.
All right. You know, they can't see you give the thumbs up, big
I know.
grin.
Okay, so
It's a podcast.
I'm giving them the thumbs up, and I'm pointing to Thallium, saying, "Yeah, this is good. We're gonna go control."
So how would you describe what a thumbs up looks like?
Well, stick your hand out in front of you. Turn it so your
Oh,
thumb is
no.
up.
Moving on. Trinket tips.
All right.
Something I discovered this week. If Plays TV, I'm a pretty big fan when it works. It's not a perfect program, but you know it's pretty good for lots of things. And I discovered this week upon reinstalling that you can change the highlights if it imports the match data properly. It will not only highlight your kills, but you can check boxes to get it to highlight your assists or deaths. And the deaths is great for looking at, you know, usually the best way to use these programs is to troll your friends and say, look at this awesome shit I did. The second best way to use these programs is say, how can I improve? What mistakes did I make? How can I self-analyze? So if you highlight your deaths, you can easily go through and check, okay, what did I do here that was incorrect?
Mhm.
What did I do in this place that was incorrect? I mean, it's technically possible to make no mistakes and still get blown the fuck up, but that's going to be a very, very tiny minority of all of your deaths. So
I like it because if you can actually troll yourself, like if you do something stupid, you could be like, "Oh man, I had a T-Force fail," and then I can throw it in the Sick Plays channel. And then,
One of these days, I'm gonna make a sick montage of me dying.
dude, I've always wanted to do that. Like take like vein spotting, and just like go to the next level and just be like 80 carry spotting, and then just be like, all right, here's what we're gonna do, and then like have like a little pointer, like a tracker of your points. One of these days, when I actually have the courage to play Vayne, I will do it.
I believe in you.
I believe in you. I mean, yeah, I do that. There's that one clip of me playing Talia so long ago where Garen got away with literally 1 HP.
You missed like all of your everythings.
Yeah.
That was so like.
People try to make fun of me for that. I'm like, yeah, I posted the clip. What the fuck do you want from me? I know I'm bad. What's your point? It's like, well, you're really bad. Like, yeah, we covered that.
We established this already. So, all right. So, George, you want to talk a little bit about the next one, since it's got your name with it?
So this is a little something I'm putting together. You all know how we've harped in the past about the best way to climb being to play like one trick, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm being familiar with one champion.
Short-term results is good.
I remain convinced that up until about mid-platinum, the thing that matters the most in whether or not you lose a game is how comfortable or familiar you are with the champion. And first of all, what do you all think on that?
I think if you can play a multitude of at least 4 champions and know knowledge about each matchup, like if you know like general concepts of like at 6 when I hit my power spike, I want to roam bottom and kill somebody as a mage, or when I'm 6, I'm gonna sit there and farm really, really well because it makes it so much easier for me to farm. There's like if you know general stuff like that, I think you would actually just be better off. So, Are you instilling a challenge upon us, George P.
N-
Burdell?
nah. Here's what I'm gonna do. I am like an engineering guy, and I never like making unsubstantiated claims. So what I'm gonna do going forward is, for all of my ranked games, all of my games should be MMR from like mid gold to mid plat over the season. I don't project myself getting higher unless I really put some effort in, and if that goes, I'll take that into account. Whatever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to record mastery points for like each champion on each team for all of my games, and I want to see how that correlates to wins and losses, and see whether just sheer amount of games played translates to better results as I think it will. Now, there are some things with this, like alternate accounts and Smurfs is going to mess with this some, but I should have enough games at the end to, go past that. And I do know that mastery isn't an indication of skill. Like, you can be bad as a mastery rank 7 player. I am on Sable. But I still think it's a good indicator of familiarity, even if not skill.
Right.
And what I'm saying is that, I think being familiar is the most important thing.
I would say that that's likely in that if you're familiar with the champion, you're spending less time thinking about how to get the champion to do what you want to do and more time thinking about how to get the team to do what you want to do, or what's the next step outside of, okay, how do I line up this queue?
Yep. And so definitely at the end of the season, and there'll probably be some few updates along the way, once every like month or so. I'm going to show what I have and just, see if we're right.
I think it's going to be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how are you measuring raw points?
So I'm curious about a few things, like just like overall point total combined between one team and another. I'm also interested in seeing like if it matters in one lane more than other lanes. Like, is it really important for mid lane to be like an expert on your champion? Is it
Like
important
if you have
as opposed to
100k, like if you're playing, let's say you're playing Cassiopeia and you have 100k mastery points on her, and you're going against an Ahri that only has 25,000 mastery points, do you think that makes that big of a difference?
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, at what point does a difference matter?
In addition to average, you should probably measure median.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like that can have an influence. If you have, like,
definitely
4 10,000s and 100K,
one like 9.
That averages out to, 30-ish.
Yeah.
But that's going to be different than an average of 30 that they're all 30.
Yep. I mean, that's just what I had
It's
to
an
say.
interesting project, though. I'm interested to see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to know what the results are. All right, so we only have time for a couple listener questions since we, spent like half an hour talking about mages. So, I guess we'll do California Slashers first.
Yeah.
Sure. Sounds good.
He writes in, "Hey guys, I love rotating game modes, but I work the weekends, off on Tuesday and Wednesday, so I don't understand why Riot doesn't keep it open all weekend or all week. I don't know either, but that's his first point. His question is, go ahead.
Well, as far as that goes, if they have the certain rotating game modes last more than one weekend, but they also don't want it to get super stale, which they usually do pretty quickly. Which sucks for you. I'm sorry. I don't have a solution to that one. You could write in and say, hey, how about some midweek madness? Maybe just make one last a whole week instead of just the weekend. I'd love to play it. And maybe they'll take your feedback into account and say, sure, why not? We'll let this round of Earth last an extra 3 days.
Yeah.
Just to make sure
So
everyone
his
gets the
question
game.
is, do you think it's bad to meet your whole team at the beginning of each match? I do this so he doesn't tilt me. He doesn't tilt him.
So they don't tilt him.
Yeah, so that he doesn't get tilted by his teammates in chat.
No. If that is a mental health strategy for you, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
I did it when,
Uh,
I've done
I
it.
made my
Yeah.
climb from mid gold to high plat. I muted everybody as soon as I got into the game, besides like my support if I was playing AD carry.
I actually had never done this until yesterday, actually, or 2 days ago, because I ended up on a pretty rough streak of stuff. I will say it works. And honestly, most teams are receptive to it. Like at the beginning of the chat, I would just say, "Hey guys, sorry, I'm turning off chat so I don't like tilt myself." And I always got pretty good responses. It was like, "Okay, sure."
Like, okay, I'll
I
ping.
think them knowing that you're doing that just
Yeah.
so they don't figure out, oh my gosh, you muted me, blah 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 blah, blah. And that puts everybody else. It's just like a good thing
Yeah.
and like a reassurance thing at the beginning of just like, hey, I'm sorry, I know this is a thing, but it's not you, it's me.
Also, if you tell them, they know to communicate with you with pings, not with like chat, because it's possible they might tell you something in chat, something important like a flash timer if you're a jungler or like a roam, and assume you see it.
Yeah, I'd say that's one.
Solid strategy.
And then his other part of his question, unless do you guys
What
want
do
to
you-
elaborate on it a little bit more, because I think that's pretty much just a yes or no thing. I think it's acceptable. George 6 is acceptable. Sally,
Yeah.
would you agree?
3 for 3.
3 for 3. Yep. If you do what you need to do. So, his other part of the question is, what do you think? What do you do? What do you do when you're camped and/or are losing your turret so badly that you're not even safe underneath it?
I mean, what do I actually do, or what do I think I should do? Because what I actually do is I usually go back and like, all right, if I stay back here, maybe I can get a couple of CS, and I'm dead again.
I think if you're okay, no,
What I
you
sh-
go ahead first, and I guess
what
I'll
I
throw my
what I
point out.
think I should probably actually do is either like, if your jungler is gonna come and counter engage under the turret, if you can get that to happen, that might be better. But that's not always something that can happen. And sometimes you just end up giving a double kill because someone fed the other mid laner. I don't know how that happened. Leave is the other thing you can do. It's like, all right, this turret's dead, and I can either give them more gold by dying with it, or I can go somewhere else and try to do something for my team. So leaving is a good strategy. Just like, all right, I lost mid, it's gone.
Like
I'm coming bot.
here's the secret. I am really bad at laning. I'm really bad at laning. So like take one of the reasons I like Aurelion Sol so much, going back to that wagon, is that the way you play him is you literally go other places. He isn't supposed to win the lane. He just, goes other places and kills their bottom lane or the top lane.
Push out the lane, roam, gank, repeat.
The enemy can't kill you under tower if you're not there. The enemy can't kill you in lane if you're not there.
I think if you're playing in like a more coordinated setting, or if you're playing mid and your jungler is with you, just team up with your jungler and roam somewhere. I mean, unless you're like super far behind everybody else on the map, if it's just their mid that's fed and they can't roam well and they don't have TP, like if you can get a playoff and try and get somebody else going, by all means do it. Just do whatever it takes to get the rest of your team back into the game, because ambiently, if that happens, something might affect that as well, and that can get you back into the game as well. So
Yeah, I mean, if let's say your tower is gonna go down, if not this wave, the next wave, and you can die with it or you can die not with it, and that's gonna be a huge gold swing. And once your tower goes down, they're gonna start roaming. So one way of combating that is, I think this was an interview I heard on either on the proper or the LCS rundown or a Patreon champ select episode. No, it was Vantage League when they got coaching from someone when the proper was doing Vantage League, and
probably
Cubes' advice was like, okay, At this point, you have lost bot. It is inevitable. There's no more reason for you two to go bot. So what you need to do is go top and at least trade. And if you can trade, you're stopping the bleeding. You're at least getting something out of the shit show that you've constructed for yourself. Because you know that turret's going to go down no matter what. So you might as well like try to use the tempo advantage to get something else out of it.
Yeah. And sometimes it's worth noting that a tower going down is bad. It does give the enemy gold. But once the tower is down, it does create a safer spot for you to farm. So sometimes you can let your outer tower go down and then farm closer to base further on, where it's harder for them to get at you. This is most prevalent mid lane. Happens occasionally top and bottom, but that's a bit different.
Feels super shitty now with first brick and all. But
feels terrible, but sometimes you got to make do with that.
Sacrifices.
Yep.
What do you think, Badger?
You just gotta, like I said earlier, you just gotta make plays around the rest of the map if you're not gonna be able to make plays in lane. You just gotta make an effect somewhere happen. So.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. I think.
Yeah, that pretty much covers that, I think.
All right. Well, what if you're getting camped and you're losing badly and you're not even safe under towers, top lane Lucian? Does that change anything?
You teleport out.
You shouldn't be in a bad spot as top lane Lucian, man. Come on, you still playing like
Premier tank.
like legit. I think top lane Lucian like 1 through 9 actually beats like every matchup except like Renekton and maybe like a Camille can like beat him. Because
After these recent changes, who knows?
I guess Camille's been changed a lot, but I don't know. You should be fine as top lane Lucian. So yeah. I believe that's the stopping point for us this week, since we went in depth on a lot of things, mostly mages.
I do love mages.
Yeah,
They're the best.
The best.
Objectively.
Don't believe their lies. Don't believe their lies. Yep, we'll be back with control mages and supports next week. Make sure you keep sending questions in. Bombard us with questions, please. forwards@tradingforcepodcast.com is the email. Anything else that you guys got to say?
I love you, listeners.
You guys are.
See, he says it too. He says it too.
You guys are pretty sweet. We appreciate you all. Thank you guys for listening. This has been the Forwards Podcast for episode 94, and we are out. See you guys next week.
Later.